everybody, and welcome to the Uninformed Fan. We are back. That is right. First of all, my apologies, Justice. My many apologies. Yeah, sometimes stuff happens. We weren't able to get that information out to you in a very timely manner. I understand that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to give you one free pick. Right, we're going to give you one free pick today that you can put in for your bets this weekend. That is guaranteed to win. That will compensate you for your time. That will compensate you for your time. Jeffrey, how are we doing?
I have the pick if you want it. Do you want the pick?
Sure. Let's go ahead.
Over Cowboys Lions. Good luck this week, everybody.
Jeff, that game was last night, unfortunately.
Yeah, I got the chance to go out and watch the second half after having a great day, hanging a 76-inch TV in my bedroom, which I think is way too big, by the way. But
for your bedroom, yes.
Yeah, Amanda swears by it, but then it's like the baby's in there. We turn the TV on and it looks like fucking
the moon
wall
landing
just lit up. It's incredible. So yeah, that was fun. Had my first drink in like a week, which was great as well too. We actually started this. I saw this on TikTok. I was like, we got to try this. We did car bombs, but instead of with Jameson, you use Rumpelmans. And I swear to God, it tastes like a Thin Mint shot, and it is a problem.
Jeff, there for a second, I was about to look at my telephone here to see if I missed any calls or texts inviting me to join the said party, and then you mentioned that. So then I just immediately turned it off. I'm going to assume that you texted me, but I just didn't see it, and I'm glad that I missed out on that, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, Justice. So basically, just you're doing rumpies, Bailey's on top, drop it in the Guinness. It is a Thin Mint shot. It's bad. We did one. Ian turns to Andrea and goes, "I need another one of those immediately." That is
my
way
question
too
is
good.
this, and as I guess a bartender, and I'm always amazed by people that just try fucked up things. Right? It's just like. Like the cement mixer shot. Like, who thought that was a good idea?
Well, I mean, like an oil slick is a problem, right? Like you don't really want to do like Goldschlager and Jaeger together. It's not an incredible combination. Liquid cocaine, right? Who came up with Goldschlager, Rumpelmans, and Jaeger together? That's an issue as well.
3 wise men, like
4 horsemen.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like that was done. It has to be done as like a joke, right? It has to be something that's just like, hey, here's your punishment for being last in fantasy football. Which also, before we get into this, I did hear this over the weekend, I guess, or over the week. This is an absolutely amazing fantasy football. All right. So in our big league, we have what's called the honey pot, which people just put in extra money, which who knows if that'll ever be hit again. But this one, Jeff, last place. And I don't know if you've seen this. You have to go to the sperm bank and make a donation. And then you also have to check the box that says you may be contacted after the child turns 18 years old. Are we going too far on some of these?
Some days I'm just glad that I got that vasectomy in January. Because that sperm bank would be very frustrated with me just going in there and just shooting up the crib for no reason. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of hollow points just firing right through there,
I wonder if you could donate blanks.
Unbelievable. I mean, I'm sure you could donate anything.
We get paid, though.
I feel like they need to verify the viscosity and the the
vigor of your swimmers,
the rating of your gasoline before they just cut you a check.
I saw this girl. It was actually a girl in the video, and she was like, "So my boyfriend or fiance, whatever it was, is losing in fantasy football, and he tells me that this is the punishment." She's like, "So 18 years from now, if I'm going to be a stepmom to this child that just decides to come out of the woodwork because he got last place in a fantasy football league?"
Well, that child would have grown up for 18 years without you, so you wouldn't be liable for anything.
I don't think it's necessarily that, but I mean, just imagine though, like 18 years, because obviously at a certain point down the road, you're going to forget about it, right? You're going to forget about it unless you just continue in the same league and it's the same thing over and over. But eventually you're going to forget about it. Let's just say like 25 years down the road, you get a phone call and they're like, "Hey, is this Jeff Schneider?" Well, yes, it is. Who the fuck is this?
Well, first of all, you don't answer phone calls. You don't know who they're from anyway, so they have to leave a voicemail.
Okay, well, okay, so let's just play the voicemail. Hi, this message is for Jeff Schneider. Yeah, my name is Bobby Tall. And 25 years ago, you donated sperm to this bank. And I just want you to know I'm your child and I would like to meet you and see where I got this massive widow's peak from and this wonderful head of hair.
Yeah.
Please call me back.
And I would be more than happy to tell her about how Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Brian Thomas Jr., Ashton Genty absolutely is the reason that child is alive today, without a doubt. No problem.
And half of them probably wouldn't even be in the league. So, yeah, I think that's just wild. That's wild. Let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about.
None of them would be in the league 18 years later. They're not LeBron James, you know.
Did you see his streak was broken last night?
I did. You see somebody put $15,000 to win $500 on his 10 points plus?
I did not, but that's just an idiot. But do you know
that if you would have bet that 1,297 games in a row, and if you would have started with whatever the regular, whatever your unit size was, I think I saw that if you would have compounded it over and over and over again, it'd be worth like $1.7 trillion or something like that as a bet. Crazy to think. And it came to an end.
$1.7 trillion out of 1,400 games.
Because you're doubling the bet every single time.
Right, but at some point you're not doubling it. It's minus 5,000 odds. So Correct. It's not a true double. Like
correct. Well, okay, let's say even if it was like last night, it was fucking whatever, minus 2,500, and you were bet $15,000 to win $500 on minus 2,500.
Still not a double up though.
Compounding that.
I get what you're saying. I just a trillion seems. I got to fire up my LeBron hate meter here.
Well, somebody was saying they're like, go ahead and start betting Shea right now. Take Shea every single game, do the exact same thing because he'll probably have 1,000 games in a row with at least 10 points. But it is amazing to think, right? Like that's like through injury. That's like through exactly. That's through everything. Now LeBron played the whole game.
Let me fire up my LeBron hate meter real quick here because I only saw one thing at the end of the game.
You saw him pass the ball?
Well, I saw him pass the ball. I saw the guy make the shot, and then I saw 4 other teammates go over there and run and congratulate the guy and walk off on his own with his arms up in the air.
He did walk across the clip.
No, I did. Well, what was the rest of the clip?
He does walk over with his hands in his air, jumps up with everybody on the bench, and then they all come together afterwards, and he's going absolutely insane.
Okay. I'll just say, like, that was the first thing. I only saw the clip this morning, Jeff.
Yeah, it's just the way people clip it. Anyway, I don't really want to talk about LeBron. Shout out to Justice. Congratulations on having Dak and Gibbs go crazy last night. Hell of a combo. Really good start to a week when you're getting into fantasy football this week, which is a little touch and go for some of us. So.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the end of the run. But honestly, I can't be upset, man. I think I did amazing considering the heartache that I've dealt with this year in fantasy football, which a lot of people have with the injuries and everything that's happened. But let's get into it. Cowboys Lions last night. Cowboys 30, Lions 44. There's really not much to talk about here other than good night. Yes, there is still a chance that the Cowboys come in, and a lot of us were talking about how nobody wanted to play the Cowboys right now. I certainly didn't want to play them. I'm glad that the Bears got, through them earlier in the year when they were complete dog shit. But I could not have been more impressed by the Detroit Lions last night, 44-30, and it didn't feel that close. There was a point when the Cowboys got within 3 points, and what did the Lions do? They went down in like 5 plays and just ran it right down their throat and scored. I tell you, the Lions came out when it mattered most, 100%. And this was a get-right game, right? The Lions had to win this game. If the Lions lost this game, their odds of even going to the playoffs were very slim because of the NFC North. And let's be honest, the surprise record of the Chicago Bears. That kind of threw everyone a turkey wrench, But, after this game, obviously CeeDee Lamb goes down, gets just absolutely just crushed in his dome. Seeing stars, that dude was not right. I don't know what he was seeing, when he was doing the movements with his hands, but I'm sure it was pretty trippy. I'm sure there's a lot of stars, a lot of flashing lights. He's obviously out. But a lot of people are already talking about George Pickens in this game. his lackadaisical route running, and they brought up clips this morning on Get Up. I always love watching Get Up, especially on Mondays with Dano. And they brought it up, and dude, he is not even running half of his routes at full speed. And, a lot of people are being like, well, what's going on here? And, to Dan's point, he was getting double teamed. So he just assumed that when the double team was on him, that the ball wasn't going to come his way. But lot of issues coming out of the Cowboys side with that. But I'd rather focus on the Detroit side. Absolutely beautiful game by Dan Campbell and his coaching staff. Amon-Ra St. Brown coming out, possibly wasn't even going to play. Not only does he play, he comes out, makes statements. He's cutting on quarters. I don't know if he got the varsity blue shot. I don't know if he took an Oxy 40. Whatever it is, congratulations. You got it. You deserved it. Now take your week and a half off and rest. Jeff, what did you take away from this game?
Yeah, I mean, we thought there would be a lot of points scored here. Obviously, we've been a fader of Detroit's defense for most of the year. Indoors, Dak has been really well, done really well this year. Obviously, CD going down is a tough thing to be able to swallow, but I felt like Detroit just kind of handled this game like they did anyway. I mean, you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, 3 touchdowns, 12 rushes, 47 yards, I think is what the stat line was. So it's not super impressive from a yards perspective. And we know since the Quinnen Williams trade with him and Kenny Clark in the middle, the Dallas has been much better against the run this year. And I worried about how they'd be able to do that. Now with Amon-Ra playing, that was really able to kind of mitigate that little midi game that they play so well. Jameson had an okay game as well too. It really kind of turned it on late. Didn't have a touchdown. I think halfway through the third quarter, he had like 40 yards or something like that. So
that one play at the end, they got like 25, 30 yards.
Yeah, exactly. He got most
100.
Got most of his yards at the very end. So, he gets there for you. And obviously CD does as well.
Not
too.
For
6
me.
catches.
I'm going against him.
Okay. 6 catches, 121 yards for CD as well. But yeah, huge win here. And, you mentioned it. This is basically for the division, or not for the division, but for your playoff hopes. I think Dallas, I saw even with a loss, they're pretty much done now. And now you look at Detroit. If they were to lose, I think even with a win, their odds are still only 50% to be able to make the playoffs this year. So really, really important game. And, shout out to Dan Campbell for just always getting it done, especially coming off of tough games sometimes. He just finds a way to kind of rally those guys, get them together, and make it happen. Huge loss, though. They do lose Brian Branch. Just got announced torn Achilles, it looks like. So he will be done for the year, and a big chunk of next year as well, too. I guess my question is, we've been a fader of the Detroit Lions this year. They do have a couple of tough games coming up as well to finish up. If you don't make the playoffs this year, in this iteration of what this is this just continue to run it back, continue same everything? Are there changes made? What do you do here if you're Detroit? And I understand it was a big win, but I think there's more questions than we have answers to still with this football team.
I think you just got to look at the injuries of the roster. I mean, that defense was decimated throughout the year again. This has been 2 years back to back that their secondary has been just completely decimated. And I think until you can get at least a half a season, full season, obviously optimally, of full healthy players from that Detroit defense, or to your point, do you bring in other people that, maybe are not less injury prone? I think until that, I don't think you can necessarily blow up the team. We all knew that there was going to be challenges this year with the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator leaving. Dan Campbell snatching back the offensive coordinator. I think the defensive coordinator is doing a good job. It's just the personnel is just not there. To your point, the Detroit Lions have the Rams, Steelers, Vikings, and then the Bears. We can say whatever we want about the Steelers, Vikings, and Bears, but the Rams are still going to be playing for that number 1 seed, and they're going to bring it, and that is in LA. Obviously, it's still a dome, even though it's an open-air stadium. Steelers could be also playing for their lives, and who knows what that team is going to show up on what week.
For sure.
Yeah, and that is at home. And then, of course, the Vikings. And then you do have the Bears on January 4th in Chicago, outdoors. Trust me, you don't want to leave Jared Goff up to that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
We're in Florida.
Jared Goff is not starting that game by the time it makes it down to it. So shout out to all 50 people in here right now. Appreciate everybody chiming in, tuning in, and commenting. We'll try to get to all your comments as soon as we possibly can.
Indeed. Well, let's get it on. It is week 14. It is the last week of your fantasy playoffs. If you're like me and sitting in just a gargle of ties, looking for tiebreakers, points, I hate to break it to you. There's not a lot of good out there. You're not picking up anybody on the waiver wires at this point. It's just full bore ahead. Hopefully you can get it through. Let's start it off. This shirt is on. The shirt will always be on during these games. Obviously, it is one of the most important games. The Chicago Bears headed into Green Bay, where they won last year in Lambeau Field for possibly the division and could possibly just set the whole thing on fire. I tell you, it's amazing. We talked about the week 18 and pushing games out, extra games. Will they matter? We're in week 14, Jeff, and we're talking about playoff games every single week.
Yeah.
And this one could possibly determine the entire NFC North division. If the Bears beat the Packers here, they take an absolute stranglehold on this division. If the Packers win, the Packers take a stranglehold because of the tiebreaker, right? And then because you also have the Bears that are going to play you again. But the Bears have a tough schedule the rest of the way out. It's not easy. I haven't looked at necessarily at the Packers, but I am at the moment. The Packers aren't much easier until the end of it. It's Bears, Broncos, Bears, Ravens, and then Vikings. So the Packers have a tough stretch as well. So this is a very, very important game. 6.5 seems like a lot to me, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm looking at the betting numbers, I'm seeing all of the money, 67%. I do believe it was 63%, all on Chicago plus 6.5. Yet the line is not moving. If it gets to 7.5, that would be the only time that I would take it. I have no idea what to come about the over-unders. Will Green Bay's receivers catch the ball? Will the Chicago Bears offensive line just push Micah Parsons and that defensive line around like they did the Philadelphia Eagles? Will DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai both have big games again? Romo Dunze is actually questionable to play. A lot of question marks going on here. I still think 6.5 is a lot. This is going to be a game that I feel like Ben Johnson will definitely have his team ready for. If you watch any of his post-game speeches, it's just amazing. If that translates throughout practice and through the week, that's probably not good. Just put water on my router. We'll see how long that lasts. If that translates, if that translates through the week, it's going to be a rough ride for Green Bay. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think me and you were talking about this in pre-show as well too. To start this year, when Ben Johnson first got the job, there was a lot of statements that were made. There was a lot of challenges and gauntlets that were thrown down. And even when they followed up on it, they said, hey, Ben, are you is this like a playful banter thing that you have with Matt LaFleur? And Ben Johnson goes, I don't know, Matt LaFleur. We're not friends like that. And like those small little statements are like, them's are fighting words, bro. And so now you have both teams that have had extended rest coming off of the Thanksgiving break. Both teams, and this is going to be a hell of a game. There's going to be weather involved. It's going to be one of those, I just feel like smash mouth, grind it out, run the ball football games. Now, Jordan Love has been incredible during Toyotathon. So we've seen some stats about how this is like usually when Jordan Love really kind of turns it on. Will he be able to take care of or expose the back end of that defense? Time will tell, but this is going to be a fun Sunday to be able to watch all these games. I'm not sure I love the number at 6.5 as well, but it does scream that they're asking for people to continue to take Bears money for the book and not really budging off of it. So that would be my only pause for taking the Bears there, would be you're part of the public, Joe Public, that is betting this thing and the line's not moving. So that would be my pushback on that.
To your point, weather 19 degrees at kickoff, 20% chance of precipitation, 11-mile-an-hour winds. And let's also not forget this game was flexed to the 4:30 if you're on the Eastern. Not only was this game flexed, but the December 20th game was flexed to Sunday Night Football.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So lots of crazy stuff happening here. Lots of important games. And again, at the end of the day, Chicago Bears fans, we started off this year. Hey, we want to see improvement. We want to see improvement. Well, guess what, guys? We have turned that corner. We've turned the corner. The season is no longer just a throwaway. Hope we get better. Let's do better. No. We're in it now. Now we have expectations. And the expectations are, as always, beat Green Bay.
And this is also a, like we talked about too, walk into your trap, take over your trap. If you come in and you knock down that door and you beat Green Bay in Green Bay to take a stranglehold on this division, this is like you're foreshadowing what this is going to be for the next few years to come as well too. And so I just think there's so many different storylines, dynamics, factors, things that are going to play into this game. Sit back and watch, enjoy your Sunday, kick your feet up, go to your favorite sports bar. This is one of the best Sundays of football that you will have the entire year with this slate that we get.
And definitely, if you're not a Bears Packers fan, just sit back and enjoy the game. If you're a Bears Packers fans, eat a gummy, do whatever you got to do. Emotions are going to be all over the place. It's going to be one of those games, 100%.
Yep.
Well, you know what's not going to be one of those games, Jeffrey, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who welcome in the lowly New Orleans Saints. Bucks here are favored by 8.5. Bucks getting healthy. Bucky had a great game. For those of you that are in fantasy and have Bucky, it's time to take him off of your injured reserve. He did play last week. He's projected, I think, 15 points this week. Also doesn't need to be on your bench. Maybe sub it out. Like if you have maybe a Nick Chubb type something that like you've been filling in the gap for a while, maybe you go ahead and switch that around a little bit. Should be a run heavy game from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks getting healthy. Mike Evans,
we won't get into this, but you know my opinion. Play whoever you want to play. All right. Tyson's upset. There's a gentleman in our league who happens to be one of my best friends, who did rearrange and set his lineup, but he decided to leave Bucky Irving on his IR and play Nick Chubb instead. Obviously,
I have inside intel that told me that he didn't know that he was off the IR. He didn't know he was activated. I've seen the receipts. So, do you want to continue with that? That could definitely well have been, and you're absolutely right.
What I'm saying,
it's a player's choice to play whomever.
Whoever you decide you want to play.
But I will be campaigning for this, as I tried to campaign you last week to send him the text because you are his best friend. And you said no, that would be collusion. I will be sending it this week. 100%. I will be colluding. But let's get back to your Bucks and the Bucks game.
Yeah, we're starting to get healthy at the right time. This is an interesting game. At 8.5, I know there's going to be some professional money that's going to come in on the Saints side. The Bucks just play close games. It's what they do. Even if they get up big, they kind of quit. And so it's just kind of the way it is this year. Hopefully they can. There's a switch that I think they're going to be turning here very shortly. Baker looked really locked in at his press conference this week. They asked him, I think they asked him some question about, hey, are you annoyed with Dave Canales and what's going on out there and how well the Carolina Panthers are playing, considering, he was your coach and now he's out there and, you guys are so close for the division. And Baker goes, I'm worried about New Orleans on Sunday. So thank you very much for your question.
Reporters ask the corniest questions, man.
I agree. Which I love the answer. Obviously, if you're a football head, you love the answer. But I will say this as well, too, is that if the Bucks win the next 3 games, they have the Saints on Sunday. They win that game. They play the Atlanta Falcons on Thursday night. If they win the Thursday night football game, then all they have to do is beat Carolina the next Sunday at home, and you've won the division. So you don't got to worry about the last 2 games. You're not getting a higher seed than the 4 seed anyway. You're not going to have a better record than the Rams. You already lost a tiebreaker to them. You're not going to have a better record than whoever's coming out of the North. You already lost a tiebreaker to them, probably.
I'm sorry. Can we go back to that real quick? You're not going to have a better record than whom?
Than Green Bay. You want a better record than Green Bay.
And
you already lost a tiebreaker if you get it anyway to Philly head-to-head. So you want the tiebreaker over them. So you're going to have the 4 seed. Sit there. You can get healthy if you want the next 2 games. Obviously, Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan coming back is going to be huge as well, too, because you can now, now you have all your weapons. You have everybody. You have no excuses. There's nothing. Go out, throw the ball around the yard, go get it. I think Mike and Jalen will probably miss this week, but maybe be back for the Thursday night game.
I'm very concerned about how long Jalen McMillan. No, he had a broken collarbone, right?
He broke his neck.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say. I keep thinking that he was just out being concussed.
No, he broke his neck.
Yeah,
legitimately broke his neck.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
No, but he's back.
No,
he's fine.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a cruiserweight game. Also, looks like no Kamara again. For the New Orleans Saints.
Hire up Devin Neal, baby, if you got him. Buff.
Yeah, buff. Maybe play him buff.
He's not playing him.
No, of course not. I can't knock him for that. But I will knock Joe for leaving his Bucky Irving on the bench. If he does it again this week,
I'll probably see Joe today. We'll have a conversation tonight.
I'm going to text him today. Don't you worry about it. So then maybe you can talk about that and talk about, Tyson. Oh, he's so worried. But I will say this. I have to take care of my own business. I can't depend on other people.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep him very abreast of what you guys were saying on the group chat as well, too. I just want to let
Not you guys. Not you guys.
You guys.
All I said was not starting Marvin Harrison Jr. and Bucky Irving, a bold strategy. Let's see how it plays out. Then.
Walaikum salam.
Then, apparently, Mark and TJ have already had numerous conversations. I didn't know that he didn't set lineups in certain leagues and had IR people playing or people with zero. I didn't know that.
In certain leagues, he plays one league.
Sorry, certain weeks. I meant certain weeks. I don't know what the guy. Apparently, the guy's running the world organization that he needs to focus on those things.
He is.
He is. All right, well, let's get it on. The Steelers Ravens headed into Baltimore. Steelers absolutely reeling. Aaron Rodgers looks like crap. Broke his nose, bloodied, bruised. I think that this is just something that the skeletons are coming out of the closet. Everything is being exposed. This was a team that was not well put together, to your point, or I think it was your point, as far as paying some of these guys and in your defense that you paid all these guys for, and now they're not doing shit. Aaron Rodgers, you're leaving. I think the best thing that I heard was you took DK Metcalf and turned him into Julian Edelman. That was one of the best. When he was at Seattle, deep balls. Over here, we're dinking and dunking with DK Metcalf. To me, this goes back to Arthur Smith. And I don't understand it. I really don't, Jeff. I don't understand how somebody saw what he did in Atlanta with Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Kirk Cousins at the time, all of that. No, who did he have before that as well? And that Desmond Ritter. We can kind of give him a pass there. But watching the game plans that he schemed up over there, not giving the ball to Robinson half of the time, and then when he did, Robinson would explode. It'd be like, no, let's go back to the checkdowns. I don't see any offensive prowess from this dude. Haven't. I certainly don't see it in Steeler Nation. And the fact that you got rid of George Pickens, which again, it is what it is, but you can't just have DK Metcalf out there on an island and be like, okay, well, let's hope Washington, my 6'9", 5,000-pound tight end who can just bowl over people. Let's just dink it to him for 2 yards and hope he runs over everybody like, Billy Bob in Varsity Blues. That was a great reference. That just came to me, Jeff.
That's
the Billy Bob.
Great.
Yeah. I think the Steelers team shit. I think that it's constructed poorly. I think the roster's poor. I think at the end of this year, the Steelers absolutely clean house and hit the reset button. And that goes from top to bottom.
I feel like your opinion is absolutely fair, but I think it's a lot of people's opinions as well, too. And whenever a lot of people start piling onto one side, whenever former players start calling for Mike Tomlin to be fired, calling a mediocre Mike, whenever things like this come into fruition. First of all, I said former players. I didn't say myself.
I was going to say, you started this revolution, mediocre Mike, 2 years ago.
That's true. I just think that, first of all, you take the under here all day. And I think, what's the stat that I saw? It's like, whoever's the underdog in this game by more than 3 points, whether it's Harbaugh or Tomlin, is like 25-3 against the spread career. So you should just blindly bet the Pittsburgh Steelers here, and you would have returned your money. I mean, on an ungodly fold. That being said, this is a really tough spot to want to come out and bet the Steelers. Obviously, the defense has to show up, and they haven't really shown up. TJ Watt's been a shell of himself this year. It's not like the problem is, though, is like Baltimore's O-line has not been great. Is Derrick Henry going to get up a burst of speed and be able to break big runs? I have so many questions about this game. Aaron Rodgers' average depth of target is 6 yards right now. It's one of the worst in the entire league. He's just dinking and dunking everything. They're obviously, if you're Baltimore, you're going to play up. So will he at all get any deep shots downfield? Also, like, what were these wide receivers that they decided to pair with Aaron Rodgers, right? You gave him a bunch of small dudes and then one monster in DK. Like, I don't know. I just it hasn't really made sense to me. Personnel wise, what they've done on offense the entire year. That being said, it's like a habit that I can't kick. And I know that the pros are on the Ravens side here, but I will be the square and the puppy being led to the slaughter, and I will go ahead and hop on the Pittsburgh Steelers +5.
Well, again, it just goes back to Baltimore. And when are we going to see Lamar Jackson?
But give me the under, by the way, too. 43. I feel like this is going to be a weather game as well, too, and I could just see nobody moving the ball whatsoever.
Let's see what the weather is, Jeffrey. The weather is going to be actually 44 degrees, 13% participation, and only 5-mile-an-hour winds. Weather might not be a factor here, Jeff. It is partly cloudy. So I don't know if that affects the moonlight Baltimore of the ball. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There is that.
I don't know. I just feel like we've been talking about the Baltimore Ravens, and everybody has for the entire year, wondering when they're actually going to show up, when they're going to be the Baltimore Ravens that we all have expected. I mean, we're week 14, and we're still talking about it.
It's crazy.
Weird also that Mark Andrews just gets an extension in the middle of this. Arguably, probably one of his worst seasons coming off the drop in the playoffs.
Like
you have Isaiah Likely. Yeah, it's all weird. Very weird, man.
And here's the funniest part about this too, right? If Pittsburgh somehow wins this game, they are absolutely in the driver's seat for the division. And then, as the narrative completely flipped, because
this is your parlay talking, Jeffrey.
No. This is just me talking like in general. Like if Pittsburgh wins this game, they have another game against Baltimore, but it's going to be in Pittsburgh, right? All of a sudden, like I understand that their schedule going toward the very end is a little bit tougher. I do understand that, but also this would be such a demolishing game for Baltimore, where Baltimore would just like basically eat itself after this and be like, we suck, which they do. They're not good. But at the end of the day, you're going to be able to put Kyle Hamilton up in the box, play a single high safety, and see if Aaron Rodgers can beat you. I don't know.
I don't know either, and I think that's the whole point of this game. I think both of these teams have played absolutely dog shit. I have not seen a game from either one of them that I'm like, ooh, that's a good team.
Yeah, I can see it being 16-13.
Yeah, I think that they're both dog shit. And every time we continue to talk about the Baltimore Ravens and, being the favorite for this division, they just keep losing games, like to the Bengals, which we'll talk about now. The Bengals headed into Buffalo favorite here by 5.5. Obviously, they have to stay alive here. I don't know. Again, what team's showing up? We've seen the Buffalo Bills get absolutely rolled by the Miami Dolphins. We know what the Bengals are. They do seem to have a little bit of juice with Joey B back. That defense is playing better. I don't know though. What do you think?
I know a bunch of pros who I've listened to who really love the Buffalo Bills side here. And all week I've liked the Bengals. So once again,
I told you the pre-show here. I love a lot of games this week, which is really scary. I love the Bengals here +5.5.
Yeah, for the simple fact that I think he'll get a backdoor cover somehow. Like I don't think that Buffalo's defense is good enough to stop this offense. And I think Chase Brown is going to be able to run. I think that's going to open up anything that Burrow wants to do. T. Higgins probably back as well too. Now you put, T. Higgins, you have Jamar Chase and Ivoshevas as well there. That's a three-headed monster that is really, really good. And I know Ivoshevas has been great when he's been out. Maybe not as good when he's been in, but I could see this being a game where he kind of opens it up as well too. Buffalo's secondary is trash, and they don't get a great pass rush as well. We talked about how Cincinnati has played better defense going forward lately as well. You saw what they just did against Baltimore on that Thanksgiving night. So yeah, I think they have 10 days to prepare. Zach Taylor going to scheme something up. They're fighting for their life. They have to win every game going forward, win out or go home. So yeah, give me the hungry dog here. I'm with you. I understand that people love what this Buffalo team can do because of how bad this Bengals defense has been, but I do think it's been a little bit better lately. That Al Golden's trying to kind of rally the troops right now. So I do kind of like the Bengals here in this spot.
This is the exact same game that we saw last night, Jeff. As we're talking about it, it's the exact same guy. The Cowboys,
and they lose by 2 touchdowns.
Better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I will stay away from the game because this looks just like a carbon copy of Thursday Night Football.
I think you probably just take the over here again. Like it's just like last night. You just take the over. Everybody's going to score 53. I mean, you got it at 55 last night. You're saving 2 points here. Just, I guess, call it a day.
Call it a day. I did want to briefly talk about the Titans Browns.
No,
and not no, yeah, I do. Because there's an issue, Jeff. The Cleveland Browns are my survivor pick this week.
That is a big fucking issue.
I am in a bad place this week when it comes to survivor picks. But as I was saying, I actually love them here. I think it's going to be a great when you look at the Cleveland Browns and the defense against what that Titans offense is. They're going to shut them down. I mean, they're shutting down the best offenses. And all I need is Shador to take care of the ball and hand it off to Junkins, who is the Titans have one of the worst run defenses. Surely Stefanski cannot screw this up for me, Jeff.
This is going to get
surely.
This is going to get sweaty for you.
It couldn't have been any sweatier than the freaking Dolphins.
That is true. But like I said to you, thank God he returned that for a touchdown. We didn't get a chance to talk about that. But if he makes the interception in the end zone and runs 104 yards to return the 2-point conversion to make it 4 instead of 2, thank God.
Can we talk about how bad that onside kick call was, though? Give me a break, dude. Yeah. Give me a break. Yeah. Saying that touched the Dolphins player, nah. And Jeffrey is so upset by that he clicked his side button, and now he has to bring himself back in because he gets excited and he clicks his side button, which boots him off the stage. And welcome back, Jeffrey.
I don't even know what happened. Anyway, it's all good.
I know what happened. You clicked your side button. Yeah, I mean that was just a terrible call. Terrible call. But yes. So I still believe it. I think the Browns can do this, Jeff. I think the Browns could do it. We are down to, I think, 10 people. Everyone went through, and I do believe next week is a double pick week. That's going to get even worse. But I do like my pick.
I don't mind
at all. I do like my picks moving forward. My biggest thing is I feel like a lot of us that are still in Survivor all have kind of the same people left, which is why we're still in it. So I feel like a lot of people are going to go after the Browns as well, because when you look over the slate and the teams that are there, and if you're down to shit teams,
I don't think people are going to want to bet on Shador Sanders. But I appreciate your chutzpah. I appreciate your moxie. I appreciate your intent. You're a phenomenal human being.
Bring it home, Cleveland.
I love that you're doing this. It's fantastic.
Well, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. It's time to bring home the Survivor trophy, because this one is probably going to be leaving. So let's bring the Survivor.
Well, I mean, technically, you had a part of a Survivor trophy.
I did, yeah, I did, and I had a little input on there. If you guys want to buy into this one, I'll make some good deals. It will be $500 though.
I'll let TJ know. Yeah, exactly. When I moonlighted on his show a couple of weeks ago, when Buff was out, and we were talking about it, and I was like, I was in a weird financial spot then, where like $1,000 was like, whew, okay,
it made sense.
Where like now
4 weeks to go,
right? But now I'd be like,
well, you would probably still do it, but it would probably be like a $1,500 buy-in.
It would be more. Yeah, it'd be more.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you got $3,000 up front.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But that also wouldn't make sense fiscally for you guys, because you're not giving up $1,500 each to only get back 85 if we win. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
I don't even know what the pot is. I think the pot's probably like 14,000, something like that.
Right. So you win the whole thing. You split that 3 ways. You're talking what? Fucking 4.75 or something like that. So like, is that really
your 1,500? So you still make another 3. You still double your money.
Yeah, but you double your money, from like week 10 on. That's 8 weeks of sweat for doubling $1,500. Like, go put it on black.
Listen,
figure it out.
$1,500, peasants. Speaking of peasants, real quick, I did see this video. I don't know if you saw it, but like with the Cowboys game, right? And like they all run like stampede into the stadium to get to those standing room only areas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I've never seen a more peasant thing in my life. Like, you are literally running to get there as soon as you can get there, right? The earliest you can get there, to stand there up against that guardrail for hours and then fight your way to go pee and poop. No, that's peasant shit, bro.
Getting
You
in and
can't
out.
tell you can't tell me that it's not better to watch it at your home. Who else is fighting for their lives? The Indianapolis Colts are heading to Jacksonville. Jeffrey, this is a game with serious implications. The Jags have been looking great. The Colts are actually in jeopardy of missing the playoffs after that start. Jags getting a 1.5 here. Colts are favored here. Can the Colts bounce back, or can the Jags stay hot? Loving what I'm seeing out of Jacoby Myers and Trevor Lawrence. It looks like he has become his favorite target. Love that for the fantasy team. But Danny Jones is starting to see a little ghost over there, Jeffrey. It's not looking good. Hand the ball off.
Yeah, I don't know how you trust Trevor Lawrence and the Jags here. I'm on the Colts side. I know I'm on Joe Public's side again here. Pros love the Jags. They think it's a spot divisionally at home. They think that, Daniel Jones is not the same quarterback that he was. I can't really disagree with him. It is funny that like his roommates at Duke made this contraption that sits up against his broken leg so that it doesn't get hurt. It's kind of wild. Good to have good friends for sure. I kind of worry.
What'd you just say?
They interviewed Daniel Jones and his college roommates at Duke.
Okay.
Started a company. I don't know if they were roommates or they were friends or whatever. They said roommates. But they started a company that made prosthetics. And one of the prosthetics is something that sits up against his broken leg so that it doesn't hurt as much when he pushes off of it underneath his jersey and his pads. And so is literally wearing a prototype from his friends that they've made for him.
Well, that's kind of cool.
It is cool.
Does that give him the edge, Stu?
I don't know what that means.
It's okay.
Good. Justice, I like Justin Herbert if he plays. I think Shador is going to be it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be one of those win games, weather games, from what I understand. I don't know. I would if you have Judkins, cool. I don't know if I'd start anybody else. But I think Herbert, if he plays, it's kind of a must win for them as well, too. On a Monday night, Herbert indoors in what should be a fast track with all those weapons against a secondary that we think is a little weak in terms of Philly. I like that.
To your point, Cleveland weather 34 degrees, 48% chance of precipitation, and a 13-mile-an-hour wind going straight across the field, north to south. So, yeah. I don't know, Jeffy. So, Jeff, you like the Colts here, and then the Colts does that give them the command of that division then? Let's see here.
Well, they still have a few games left. This is a big game.
Still got the Texans jumping right behind them. That would put that would put them all.
They just lost to the Texans last week in a game they should have won, but some terrible calls, penalties, different things that kind of came to fruition there. Just very unfortunate plays. They ended up losing, so that's kind of the way that it goes. So,
who is CHJ? I'm assuming that this has to do with some type of recruiting. So yeah, let me know who that is and why you're so excited.
Is Chris Henry Jr. So basically, Chris Henry Jr., one of the number one wide receivers in the country. Obviously, the rich just get richer at Ohio State when it comes to recruiting, but Ohio State has had a distinct advantage because
he was the one that paused his recruiting because they lost his offensive coordinator.
Yes, because Brian Hartline, who has been the best wide receiver coach, hands down, no questions asked, in college football for the past however many years. You're going back to, I think, Urban Meyer days, maybe. I don't know, maybe the Temple of Brutus can speak more to that. But Hartline has been a key cog in Ohio State, obviously played football there, just accepted the head coaching job at University of South Florida, which I think is a great job. They're building an on-campus stadium. They're not going to be at Raymond James anymore. You saw what they've done this year. You have a chance to make the college football playoff every single year. He's going to go there. There's a bevy of talent there in that area. Watch out for Brian Hartline around here.
Plus,
and watch out for FSU poaching him in about a year and a half.
Did you see? You know, I'm going to save this till we get to the college. Let's wrap up the NFL because we got a lot of college to discuss. A lot of stuff happened in college. So, with that being said,
we're running short on time too.
We also have the Texans Chiefs. Chiefs at home, favored by 3.5 here. Huge game again. Chiefs lose. They are completely out. Texans are right in the thick of things. Jeff, who takes this W?
The Houston Texans.
Love it. It's time for the. It's time. You know what? They talked about this and Super Bowl fatigue from the Kansas City Chiefs after being there for so many times. I agree. They need some time off.
Can I say one other sneaky thing? This is a really sleepy spot for Denver this week. I know they're playing the Raiders.
Love the Raiders here.
You can look at this line, and I'll tell you, it makes no sense. I've seen it bounce between 6.5 and 7.5. It's up to 7.5 now. You can get the Raiders at. I've seen it bounce to 8.5. It's been all over the place. But I just think this is like a sleepy spot. My 2 cents.
Love the Raiders here. Like I said,
I think Brock Bowers goes crazy as well too.
I also love the Cardinals plus 8.5 against the Rams. I love a lot of dogs. This
seems like another sleepy spot. And Jacoby, regardless of what you want to say, I think the only player Jacoby's been number 1 or number 2 in fantasy football for quarterbacks every single week that he started so far, except for a few weeks where he lost to like Josh Allen. Regardless of what you want to say, Jacoby he's been rock solid.
I said that from the beginning. He's definitely an upgrade.
And it, like Jameis, right? Like if Jameis is out there, like you almost you have to start him just because he's that guy. And man, maybe Jameis gets a shot somewhere. We were actually talking about this. I know we're not going to touch on this game, which is Minnesota and Washington. It's coming up this weekend as well too. JJ McCarthy's going to be back as well. They're not sure if Jaden Daniels is going to play or not, or if he's going to come back this year if they end up winning this game. I don't think he's back this week, but I think they might be thinking about bringing him back next week. Obviously, JJ is not going to be the answer there. Could you imagine Jameis Winston on the Minnesota Vikings?
It would be fun.
You give Jameis, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, a decent offensive line, Justin Jefferson, 2 decent running backs.
We've seen that.
Jalen Naylor's been really good this year. Like I don't know. Be interesting.
Did you see that Jameis Winston posted his thing on Twitter where he said in the 20s you're going to walk past the seafood aisle in Publix? It's very important.
Unbelievable.
That you just keep walking.
He is one of the funniest people in the entire world. I told you earlier in the year, as a Bucs fan, it's just great to see people start to embrace him and love him like we have as Florida State people for so long. Actually, funny story. Guess who I saw out last night? One of the Aguayo brothers.
Don't know who that is.
You don't know who Roberto Aguayo? Drafted in the second round by the
Tampa Bay he's a kicker. Punter.
Time. His little brother Ricky went to FSU as well too. Was great right after him as well. Kicker as well, really good. Got to see Ricky out last night, and he was at the old watering hole. So pretty funny.
Oh, nice.
So he'll be back.
Well, let's get into it. Let's talk a little college football here. Let's talk about these playoffs, Jeffrey, and the seeding. If I can find a bracket that works here. I
don't even want to talk about it. You know what? The one thing that I do like is what John Gruden came up with, which I thought was really good as well too. Basically, he broke it down where he says that instead of it being this 12-team thing, that anybody who's basically on the bubble in any of these group of 5 teams, you got to go play a game. So you got to go play a game. We have games tomorrow anyway. Why do people get a bye and not have to worry about playing when everybody else, you know what I mean? Like, listen, the 6 teams that are playing here, right? Let's just be honest, right? You let all 6 of them in, right? We're going to let Georgia and Alabama in. You're going to have Ohio State and Indiana in. You're going to have who's the other one? BYU, Texas Tech is in. And then you take the rest of them and you kind of fill them in and have them play these other one-off games. You know, you have Miami and Notre Dame play each other again. Whoever wins, you're in. Cool. You have Oregon go play James Madison. But shout out to James Madison hiring Billy Napier for the next 5 years. Great move by Billy. Love it for him. Chestnut checkers. Have a chance to be a group of 5 team every single year. Not have to worry about getting stomped by an SEC schedule. Great call, guy.
I find it absolutely amazing that I can't, get an actual playoff bracket here. But yeah, the college playoffs are just absolute shambles, man. They're shambles. And I was on our sister
Pathetic.
or our friends over at Pop Sports and Prop Stars, and talking about how if Alabama loses to Georgia by a certain amount, then they're out of the playoffs. And I'm sitting here standing. How can you penalize somebody for playing an extra game because they made it to their conference championship when you have numerous teams? And to me, again, Notre Dame soapbox. Until you're in a conference, you don't get to play. You're not involved in the discussion. You are never playing on championship Saturday, ever. You're out of the discussion. Miami's not even playing for the ACC. We're talking about Duke, a 5-loss Duke team representing the ACC. We're talking about the shit schools, the James Madisons or the Tulanes or whomever being in here with the big boys when we know it's just like the 64th seed versus the number 1 seed. So to my point, at what point do we just expand it to the top 25 teams and then have play-in games just like the basketball? Because at the end of the day, you cannot tell me that a Texas team with 3 losses does not deserve to be in over somebody else. Yes, they lost to Ohio State. The bad loss is Florida. Absolutely. They had 1 bad loss. That's going to knock them out. And then you already have Alabama adjusting their schedules. There's no reason to play tough games. There's no reason for Alabama to play Florida State, the opening game of the year. Why do it? You're setting your team up for failure. But yet Notre Dame can lose their only 2 ranked games, top 10 ranked games, and then run the table off of a weak-ass schedule and get in. It makes 0 sense. I don't know how it's going to be fixed. I think maybe if you take it to 15 or something of that nature. But, we say it's the top 12. It's not the top 12. It's like the top 10 because your 11th and 12th seed are coming from a shit conference that we know does not deserve to be on the field.
No.
What do you mean, no?
I mean, okay.
You're telling me, okay.
USF
Number
beat
12,
Florida this year.
Conference champion, number 5.
Florida beat Texas.
Tulane. Tulane's going to play Oregon. Okay.
Yeah. Let them go line it up.
So you give them a shot. I get the Cinderella. I'm sorry.
Where'd Summerall come from?
Tulane. He's still coaching them.
Oh.
Yeah, we can talk about that because that's what I was going to talk about before. I didn't realize Florida State was going after Lane Kiffin.
We like to talk to people.
Yeah.
I don't think they
Let
were
me tell you
actually
this. Let's talk about this real quick before we wrap this all up. The Lane Kiffin thing to me, again, I said it from the absolute start. You're pining over somebody that just talked about beating you when he got a different job. He left that job after 1 year to take his dream job at USC, gets fired there, comes back. Yes, you can say that he's reborn, but then again, he comes out of this, and what a garbage this thing is. And now you have students posting receipts about him texting them and doing this and trying to hook up with girls. I mean, the guy to me, when you look at him, exactly, TB. But that's the whole thing. He is the flavor of the week, and rightfully so. I think the Gators dodged a bullet here. I don't know about the new guy. It seems to be like Billy Napier 2.0, but we'll see. At least he's bringing in an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator. He's not going to try to be the guy that knows everything. So I guess that's step 1 to being better than Billy. But this old Lane Kiffin thing's wild, man. And when you listen to him talk, there is some screws loose in that brain, my friend. He is like not all there at all.
This is so funny because as a Gator fan, if you would have gotten him, you would have been over the moon.
I didn't like him to begin with. I was on record. So Look back at the shows.
You asked about the whole Lane Kiffin FSU thing. I told you before when Mike Norvell was basically signing with Alabama. What was that? When Saban
I apologize.
left.
Breaking news here on the Uninformed Fan. Matt Campbell and Penn State are in the final talks to become head coach.
I did see that.
Iowa State head coach.
Matt Campbell.
What a fall from grace from the Nittany Lions.
That was where I was afraid if they got rid of Norvell, where FSU would be. But I guess now that I hear more about it, I guess they wouldn't have. So I said this to you before when Norvell was going to leave and sign with Alabama. There was basically an agreement already in place with Lane Kiffin where he was going to come to Tallahassee and coach at FSU. Norvell, at the end of it, decides to pull out of the contract with Alabama, and then Florida State decides to commit more resources and so on and so forth. Whole thing, whatever, is history now. I think there's other names that are kind of getting floated around right now as well too. Lincoln Riley, as well, I guess, is looking to maybe move out of USC. So there's a lot of moving parts here, as always with college football. I do feel for Ole Miss fans for the way it all went down. At least they're going to allow Weiss Jr. to come back and coach the team to kind of finish up and then go back to coach with Lane. We talked about it, right? If you're going to go to a job, if you're going to leave, I would have gone pro personally if I was Lane, because I think once you go pro, you can always go back to college. That's always something that's there for you. But the pro thing is only there every once in a while. And I think the ability to go coach your guy in Jackson Dart in New York, I would have just waited and kind of waited it out to see. You could have coached through the playoff. Yeah, you would have missed on Florida. Yeah, you would have missed on LSU. Yeah,
I mean, Ole Miss was going to match it. So money-wise, it didn't matter.
You would have been fine. You didn't have to go through this entire show and thing. And then listen, if the Giants came calling and you left to go to New York, Ole Miss is going to swallow that a little bit better than if you're leaving in the middle of the night to go to LSU and what they consider their rivals. So it's really tough for me. And I understand it from Lane's perspective, right? It's like in life, when you're getting new opportunities and you're getting, I've seen a lot of takes about this.
TB, that's awesome, bro. Love the take there. Absolutely nailed it.
I did see this take as well too. I forget. I think it was Scott Van Pelt was talking about this, or maybe somebody posted on Twitter, and Scott Van Pelt really talked about it, about how Lane Kiffin basically went to his wife and was like, "Hey, listen, I'm leaving you for somebody else. However, it's the holidays, and for the kids, is it okay if I just stay in the house and live here, and kind of still am here for Christmas through the end of Christmas, just to help with the smooth transition?" And your wife,
I'm still going to be sleeping with the other
right,
woman.
But I'm still going with the other woman. There's no chance that I'm coming back to you, but I'm still going to go over here. And I just thought that analogy was so fucking spot on. I'm like, God.
There was no shot Ole Miss was
your
letting
wife
him coach.
Your wife is never allowing you, anyway.
No.
So I understand it. I understand it from all parties involved. I think Lane could have handled it a lot better, and I would have moved differently if I was Lane, but I'm not Lane. I haven't gone through. You see, as soon as Lane announced he was going there, Whit Weeks too announced he was in the transfer portal. Pretty funny as well.
We actually picked up somebody from LSU at Florida that said once Lane was there, no, he's out, and flipped to us.
What, on signing day, you mean?
Yeah, wide receiver. I can't remember his name, but I think the whole thing, to your point, is just an absolute shambles. It's almost as shambles as the college playoff seeding. We got a lot of things that's going to happen this weekend. If Duke beats Virginia Tech, that's step one of the chaos. And then if BYU loses, is step two of the chaos, which they're expected to lose playing against number 4 Texas Tech.
Yeah.
But then again, here we are again. We have an 11-1 team that is playing their conference championship and is going to potentially lose out on the playoffs because they're playing in their conference championship. It's just asinine, man.
I don't think any of them are going to lose out in the conference championship. And I think, unfortunately, I think Miami's 2 losses are worse than Notre Dame's 2 losses, even though one of Notre Dame's losses is to Miami. I understand.
There's no shot you can put
head-to-head matters.
I think what happens there, because right now what everybody's on is you got Notre Dame, BYU, Miami. BYU's in between them, right? So that's the cheese in the middle of the bread. If you take the cheese out and both breads are touching, that head-to-head has to matter. Doesn't matter when it happened.
I think there's a chance, though, that if Duke wins, they might not have the ACC champion in.
Correct. That is the whole other argument that maybe Notre Dame and Miami both get in.
Yeah.
But then you have, again, if Alabama gets blown out by Georgia, now they're out. And who else gets in?
Well, the problem is it would be James Madison and Tulane, I believe, would both make the playoff if Duke doesn't get in. So,
well, I mean, 2 of those conference championships are getting in, regardless. The two,
right? It's just whoever's the lesser out of those 3, or
whoever is the higher ranking or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. The one who gets the short of the stick. So,
all I'm saying is whoever gets those schools is pretty much like having a bye. Right now, it's Oregon, and Ole Miss are the two that's going to face these conferences. It's
They
pretty
already
much
have
like
a
having
bye,
a
and then they're gonna get a cupcake, and it's
I think
tough,
this
man.
has to happen. And we're going to wrap this up because I know that we're on a time here, hour into it. As always, we try to keep you at an hour. I think this at the end of this year, college football needs to go in. They need a commissioner now, just like all of the college teams are having general managers. You need a college football commissioner, just like the NFL. You need to set the dates properly to where
Yes.
there's no tampering for all. Let the kids play the playoffs. Let the coach. You cannot come into the coaching window till after a certain amount of time. Signing day also aligns with that. It all needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed at the end of the conclusion of this year. And if it doesn't, then there's a lot of issues with what is happening in college football, because we've all talked about it since the implementation of the NIL. We've all said college football is just the same. But then when they went to the 12 team, right? So then you have the 12 team and SEC schools, Big Ten schools. They're adding that ninth conference game to be a better schedule. And then they stopped scheduling the cupcakes because now we have real football games, because we thought, hey, a 2-loss or even a 3-loss with a power strength of schedule will still get us in. This year, it might negate all of that. So then what are we going to do? We're going to have Alabama playing Coastal Birmingham University, Gulf Shores University.
Yeah, I think more of the problem is they got to figure out their timing of everything. You can't have an early signing day and portal windows that are open while things are still going on. You can't have coaches having to make a decision and having the university force them to make a decision because National Signing Day is happening and they're trying to figure out who you're going to be recruiting, what's going to be going on, and giving them a deadline. Have you ever heard of that? I've never heard of a coach having a deadline to make a decision by a school. So I think they got to figure out the date thing as well. I think it's a huge thing. NIL, like I said before, it's going to come down. There's going to be a salary cap. You're going to have the whole thing. It's going to end up just a matter of time before that ends up coming to fruition. And yeah, I mean, who would you make commissioner if you had a chance? Because I have an opinion that I think there would be a group of people that I want to kind of take it over. I would take Josh Pate. I would take Nick Saban. I would take Dave Portnoy. I would take John Gruden.
I would say Dave Portnoy with a straight face, dude.
Absolutely.
Well, that just negates your entire argument. You had me at Josh. I've been lots of Josh Pate. I've been listening to a lot of his. A lot of says Dave Portnoy. Give me a freaking break, Jeff.
Nah, you just need him for the vibes. You need Davey in there to throw.
I don't need vibes in my college playoffs.
Let's be honest, though. This is a business. This is show. I was listening to the guy from the Savannah Bananas talk about how they grew their brand and different things that they do, and I thought he was very poignant in terms of the main thing has to say the main thing, and the main thing is always the fans. And so you need to make sure that the fans are taken care of first and foremost. And I think Dave Portnoy has done a great job of always keeping that fan perspective in mind first and foremost and advocating for it. And so that's
the fan perspective has absolutely nothing to do with college playoffs.
I think it matters though when you look at the fan perspective on what college football is right now. Now we're still going to tune in, we're still going to watch, but the luster, the lore, that everything has been ruined so much the past few years when you just see how much of a money grab it is. They got to get back to it somehow and figure it out. And that's why I love Gruden's thing, where Gruden was like, listen, you go play this team, you go play this team. Everybody has to play this weekend. Okay. There's no sitting. Yes, you're playing for a conference championship. You're playing for a conference championship, unless you're like the ACC right now. Whoever wins the ACC, cool, you're in. The other team's out. But all those other teams, right? BYU, Texas Tech, you're both in. Indiana, Oregon, you're both in. Alabama, Georgia, you're both in. Doesn't matter. We'll figure the seeding out after. But everybody needs to play another game. And you mentioned scheduling the ninth game. You said, oh, well, now they're going to, there's not going to be any cupcakes anymore. I think that's absolute bullshit. I think for the most part, what'd you say then?
I said when they added the ninth game and when they went to the 12-team playoff, they cut out some of the cupcakes. Because there was 2 to 3 cupcakes per team, unless you're Notre Dame and have an entire schedule. But when you add the extra SEC game, that takes away a cupcake. And then you started to see teams like Florida State, Miami, Florida start having these big first games. Because tell me 5 years ago when Alabama played anybody than Gulf Coast University for their first game of the year.
I mean, Florida State's been playing people for opening weekend for a long time.
That's because you guys are clamoring for respect. Alabama didn't need that.
But then why did Alabama schedule FSU? We play Alabama next year in Tuscaloosa, and then the
because
year
of
after
just
that,
what I said. Because when you dropped it to a 12 team, it doesn't. If you have quality losses, it still should matter. So if I lose to a quality FSU team, and I have Virginia Tech over here with the same, or if I have 2 losses and Virginia Tech has 1 loss, but my strength of schedule is 25 points higher than them, that should be in consideration. Otherwise, why would I schedule?
Though. If you're undefeated, it doesn't matter.
I agree. So, the whole eyeball test to me is absolutely wild.
Why does Texas go play Ohio State week 1, right?
Exactly.
And barely lose to Ohio State, and now that's their 3rd loss, and they're definitely out of the college football playoff because they scheduled Ohio State week 1. Now, FSU had a situation next year where, you had Notre Dame as an out of conference, you had Alabama as out of conference, AC added a 9th game. So now you got to play the 9th game, you got to drop one of your out of conference games. We didn't drop Sister Mary and Father Brother School of the Blind. We dropped Notre Dame. Is what it is. They canceled the game.
You added a cupcake instead of taking one away.
We didn't add a cupcake. They added another ACC game, and we had to get rid of it out of conference game.
Who are you playing in the ACC versus my versus?
Brother, we've won 2 fucking ACC games in the past 2 years. I don't want to fucking hear it. Okay, like they're not cupcakes. Stop saying they're cupcakes. Louisville just blew out Kentucky.
Your team is trash.
Right? Did Louisville just not blow Kentucky out? They absolutely did.
Kentucky also fired their entire staff. They're in shambles. Okay.
Did Clemson not just blow out South Carolina as well? They didn't blow them out. They beat them. Let's see. Florida State beat Alabama week 1. So far, I'm saying the ACC has a pretty good record against the SEC this year.
You're not wrong. Doesn't mean that your team's not trash.
What are we talking about?
Exactly. This is the debacle that brings us sports all together. That's going to do it for us today on the Uninformed Fan. What a wild week we have going in. Championship weekend for college. Some of the biggest NFL games. I apologize. More breaking news here on the Uninformed Fan.
What do we got?
Sauce Gardner officially ruled out, but nobody cares.
What was his injury? Was it just an ankle?
I can't remember what exactly he did.
Did you see the Giannis stuff too? It's pretty funny.
I did. I thought for sure that was an Achilles, dude. I was like, wow.
I was like, there's no way, right? That he tore his Achilles the day that all this trade stuff comes to fruition.
I'll tell you though, some of the trade aspects that I've seen coming out of this is just absolutely asinine. Like to the Warriors, to the Thunder, to the Lakers.
They had one that I saw, and it was like the Magic give up Wendell Carter, Paolo Banchero, and Franz Wagner, and they get back Anthony Davis. And those 3 go to Milwaukee, and Dallas gets Giannis. And I'm like, of all the shit that I've seen on the internet,
like that was legitimate.
This is the dumbest thing. I mean, anybody can buy a verified account on Twitter, but I was like, yeah, brother.
But that is the NBA. We see stupid shit like that. We do.
But the Magic are never doing that, bro.
Pirates do that every year. Well, that's going to do it for us today on the Uninformed Fan. Big weekend here, college championship weekend. Some of the biggest NFL matchups. We're going to have a very clear playoff picture coming into Monday's show. I do believe selection show is Sunday night, so make sure you're glued to the TV. Throw your popcorn at it. And do what you got to do.
Sunday morning, from what I remember, right?
Sunday night.
Brother, I will never forget that Sunday morning that FSU got left out of the playoff. I can tell you that right now. They announced that shit at fucking like 12:55. I'll never forget that. Neither will my kids or my family.
You're absolutely right. It will be the Sunday, December 27th at 12-3. 12-3. So technically, we're both right. Because 12:01 p.m.
You said it's
Sunday, December 7th. Sunday,
December 7th.
Yeah.
Never forget, p.m. Justice. Robbed. I have the shirt. It says absolutely robbed.
Well, you can hang it next to UCF's national championship trophy, and you guys can both feel good.
Not at all anywhere even close to what we're talking about.
We shall see you all on Monday. Thanks a lot for everyone tuning in. I think we had like 55 people at one point. So thank you very much. If you like the content, make sure you hit
the subscribe
button.
Appreciate y'all too.
love the bots. That's the Twitter bots. Love the Twitter bots, X bots, whatever you're at. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, and no matter what you're doing, just do it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Everybody be great. Have a great weekend. Go Bucks. Go Packers.
Bear down, baby.